Hello, this is Jeff from the future. This episode was recorded in 2020 as part of an original attempt at a music review podcast. The original idea was to discuss new music as it was being released, but 2020 being what it was, brought quite a few album postponements and other complications. So this series continued through 2020 and into 2021. We are now here in 2022 at the time I am recording this. So what you are about to listen to is not the Sound Judgment podcast, but an early iteration. Also, being that it was recorded more than 2 years ago now, some of our thoughts and opinions may have changed, considering that we are, in fact, people who are continuously trying to learn and better ourselves. Enjoy the show. Alright, welcome back to the I Am Too Annoyed from Being in Quarantine to Care About Anything podcast. I'm Jeff, and I'm very bored. How are you, Chris?
I feel like I'm living inside the movie The Lighthouse. How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days?
I know exactly what you mean. Can I just say, I hate complaining about it because we're kind of in that weird fine line of, this whole... because we both still go to work. Our jobs are, considered essential. We're both still working. that hasn't changed. But I believe we both also, other than work, haven't gone anywhere or done anything, aside from, God forbid you have to go grocery shopping or something sometimes. So I hate the fact that this isn't actually bad. This isn't so horrible that I can, live in self-pity. It's just bad enough that I'm annoyed, and I just feel myself slowly becoming more and more bitter. And I'm trying really hard not to, be angry at people over not doing anything, wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be that guy, but I really feel myself, becoming that guy. How dare you post a picture of your dog on Facebook? Your dog is ugly. I'm going to write a really angry message about it.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeff, and this is the New Music Challenge podcast.
Every week, we're going to challenge each other to listen to some new albums from this year.
But not just any new releases. We're trying to take each other out of our comfort zones as much as we can.
So whether you want to hear a metalhead discuss the newest pop release,
or a pretentious wannabe blues musician review the hardest new metal album, this is the show for you. Anyway, we are in fact here to talk about music, because we did in fact listen to 4 albums not this week, because we don't do this weekly, because I am horribly unreliable and very bad at this.
Jeff, we're going to kick it off with the new Lady Gaga album. Oops! No, we're not!
I was going to say, I also haven't looked at my list of, when things are coming out for a long while. I have no clue what's due.
Well, last Friday was supposed to be Lady Gaga, and I kind of have an assumption that when that comes out that you're going to challenge it to me, but she pushed it back indefinitely because of the quarantine.
I actually genuinely think I'm going to listen to it first before I challenge you, because, unlike Kesha, which was purely, I'm going to throw you off the deep end because I think it's going to be funny, Lady Gaga, I feel might not actually be that funny or interesting to make you listen to. So okay. I'm going to listen to it first before I even consider making you listen to it.
Okay.
And the problem is I'm actually looking at my calendar now, and the next album coming out that I'm even remotely excited about is Alanis Morissette, but that's not for 2 weeks.
Oh, is there any back stuff?
But I'm glad to see her show. There's I'm going to have to look and see what things have come out recently. But that one I am actively looking forward to. But that's not for a couple weeks still.
I guess we're just gonna have to settle for talking about G.Lightfoot's album Solo.
It's so easy to live with no fear or deceit, but sometimes I think maybe I have skipped a beat. The road I chose was not all it should be, but sometimes it was oh so sweet.
Beautiful transition, by the way.
Thank you.
Because I was gonna ask you so Chris, what did we listen to? No, well done. So real quick before you give any actual commentary, I don't know if you have any experience with G.Lightfoot. other than maybe you've probably heard one or two songs of his.
Well, I was hoping that you could clue me in on my preconceived notion about Gordon Lightfoot, because I'm a little familiar with his work, like a couple songs, but saying I know a ton of his stuff is like a stretch. I always kind of thought of him as like the Kenny Rogers of folk. Not that's a bad thing necessarily, rest in peace Kenny Rogers, but like he's the poppier, more accessible version of this genre that's been known for being on the raw side. Like
sometimes.
Like the Kenny Rogers to Johnny Cash, you know?
Okay, yeah, I can get that. I mean, he's definitely one of like the more well-known people in this style. I kind of look at Gordon Lightfoot as like a Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen light. You know, he's like the Reader's Digest
and that's
version.
what like he is the Kenny Rogers to Johnny Cash to like Bob Dylan or the other more raw singer-songwriters that sound like this.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, like Leonard Cohen, who just kind of like spoke saying.
Leonard Cohen,
fairly accurate.
Leonard Cohen early on did not have a great voice. He when he started doing the deep voice speak singing though, very relaxing.
I mean, I think that's like when he started being at his best. But also, like Leonard Cohen, Gordon Lightfoot started off like his first couple albums are, you know, super stripped down, like voice, guitar, maybe a bass player and another guitar kind of thing.
Okay.
And then at various points his career started having like much bigger orchestrations. You've probably heard a song called The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Are you familiar with this one?
I believe so.
That is probably his most famous song. It's also one of the songs that's like 7 minutes long, and it's just verse after verse after verse. It's like the whole thing sounds exactly the same.
I'm looking and I'm thinking the song that I knew is like If You Could Read My Mind.
Oh, okay. I mean that's totally
and like for all I know, I could be listening to the like First We Take Manhattan of his, you know, discography. That's like a little bit different than some of the other shit he's done for.
Well, I mean, in some of these cases you are. So
yeah.
This album.
Well, this is an old man, an old sad man with an acoustic guitar.
Yes,
it's
this
very
is
solo.
I want to say this is his 21st album, and I believe one of the other albums we're covering later, I think it is also their 21st album. I thought that was kind of fun. Anyway, These songs are all written in, I think I read it like 2001 to 2003. He apparently was cleaning out like his den or an office or something, found a box of tapes with these songs on them, and was like, you know what? I'm going to re-record these songs. So this album literally is, it is a sad old man, a man born in 1938, playing and singing these sad old songs. And when it's called solo, it's literally just him and a guitar. I think there is a little bit of overdubbing, but like there's no full band.
Oh, if there is overdubbing, then it was not great overdubbing, because there are still parts where his voice is like giving out. I don't think one of his whistles came through on that one song where he was whistling.
I'm still as crazy as I always have been.
I was like, give the man some water, please.
I actually was just about to ask you if you could understand some of the words, because his voice is so...
Oh my god. Gordon,
breathy.
Your voice, I'm so sorry.
Okay, but again, he is 81 years old.
I'm totally taking that into account, and I agree. I'm not trying to judge, but I'm used to, from like the songs I know, I'm used to him having like that deep voice.
I will never be set free as long as I'm a ghost you can't see.
And his voice,
like a pretty big voice,
and his voice did not go the way of Leonard Cohen, because he sounds nasally and reedy, and it went way up. Very weak sounding, very, very sad.
It is, but I'm not gonna lie, there's something about it that I actually really like. Again, I like this coming from exactly what it is. This is an old man who has certainly lived a life.
Yeah.
And it's just an old man with a guitar. I can picture him sitting on his porch singing these songs, you know, to the neighborhood cat walking by. And I don't know, I kind of love that image. It reminds me a lot of, I mean, I'm a big Eric Clapton fan, and Eric Clapton, his past couple albums have been very, like, old man with an acoustic guitar sitting on his front porch songs. And he's another one whose voice, he sounds like an old man, because he is. Gordon Lightfoot sounds like a very old man who has probably spent many nights sleeping in the rain, it sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, it like I said, again, we don't really talk about these beforehand, but we'll make little comments, offhand comments back and forth. And I think the one that I said was, it's really depressing, which reminds me of Jackson C. Frank.
Oh, that is how we got into that conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, just another singer who, that he put out that one album where he had, a very nice voice, and then second album time comes around and his voice is already falling apart, and it just gets worse until he, passed away.
I mean, his story
is way sadder. His story is way sadder.
Gordon Lightfoot's 81.
Gordon Lightfoot's 81 and has had a hell of a career and probably a hell of a life.
It has had like a phenomenal career. I mean, multi-platinum albums. Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. What a true American hero from Canada.
I was gonna say.
So other than like having complaints about his voice,
I don't even know if it's a complaint, because I do completely understand, but and I'll let you get your gameplay, but I do completely understand.
I have a complaint real quick. It is just the fact that I couldn't understand some of the lyrics, honestly, because he's buried under it's a single acoustic guitar, but I honestly couldn't hear him over it sometimes.
We're gonna get to reviewing Pearl Jam shortly, but I just want to say that he mumbles saying worse than Eddie Vedder during Yellow Ledbetter on this album.
It's great, but yes, he does.
I didn't because, like you said, he did kind of mumble through a lot of this album. I didn't walk away with many lyrical notes, good or bad, but I do have to bring up "Do You Walk, Do You Talk?"
Okay, go ahead.
Because it sounds like he wrote it in a whole 5 minutes. Particularly enraging was the line, "Are you small, are you tall, do you stick to a wall?"
Do you walk, do you talk, do you ever get mad? Are you first, are you last, do you live in the past? Are you tall, are you small, do you stick to the wall? Are you cold, are you hot, give it everything you've got.
That is not far off of what I wrote about that song, actually. I mean, it literally was just like, this song feels really lazy for a man who is like this world-renowned like singer-songwriter. Like, he's known as a great poet. I just don't know what happened during this song. Like, you want to know what this song reminded me of? Is what's that Van Morrison album where he was just trying to get out of his record contract, so he wrote songs like what's the tapeworm song? What are the words to that one?
I can see by the look on your face you got ringworm.
Ringworm.
I can see by the look on your face that you've got ringworm. I'm very sorry, but I have to tell you that you've got ringworm.
It's a very horrible disease. Yeah, that's it. Or the song where he just says, "All right, you see, we're gonna get 2 guitars. We're gonna get 4 guitars. We're gonna get 16 guitars." That's the level of lyrics on the song "Do You Walk, Do You Talk?"
It did not take him long to write this. I don't care if it sat in a drawer for 10 years. There might have been a reason.
It sat in a drawer for almost 20 years, I think. But
put it back in the drawer.
Exactly. Okay, do you have anything else that actually stood out to you, though?
I not really. It was an album of a sad man with an acoustic guitar. I enjoy a little bit of that in my life. I think though that his performance vocally was a little off-putting, especially knowing how he used to sound and knowing how much he mumbled through this. But I gotta give, credit where it's due for... You say he's 83?
80, I think I just read 81.
81?
Yeah, he's 81. He was born in 1938.
Yeah, I mean, the man's seen the Second World War. Like, how the hell am I going to be mad at him?
You really can't. I mean, this is not... I don't want to say this. This is not going to go on my shelf with his other albums that I own as like, oh yeah, I'm going to pull this one out just as often. But there's a couple songs I really like, and there's nothing super in particular. I really like the song Oh So Sweet.
Yeah, there are a few very good songs on this.
Oh So Sweet, and that I also really like Easy Flow.
Yeah.
And E-Motion, although I'm not really sure why it's written E-Motion. I wasn't sure what he was getting at.
So that he could sing...
the fact that
So that he could sing, Even My Emotion...
Having said everything I ever wanted to say, should I still feel uncool or uptight? Even my emotion online tonight.
Thank you. But just like, it's... Even so, like, those three songs I think are legitimately really good. Even after listening to this album a few times, I actually have gone back to those three songs quite a few times.
Yeah.
I have not gone back to Do You Walk, Do You Talk, though. Or why not give it a try? That's another one. Just a second here.
Very weak closer.
Okay, that's right. So this is the song that I actually really like the guitar in it.
Yeah.
But it literally just opens with the lines, would you like to go dancing, or would you like to go home? At least I think that's what he's saying. And when... This album's only 33 minutes long.
Yeah.
But when this first came on, I remember thinking to myself, yes, Gordon, I actually would like to go home. I'm done. Mind you, I'm lying in my bed listening to this, but I remember thinking, like, I'm done with this right now.
It's okay. He kept asking me it at work, and I'm like, yes, I want to go home. I do remember it ending and just being like, wow, that was the closer.
Again, as someone who's not super into, like, I don't really care about the order of songs on an album, I do agree that I think the first and last track are important because it's the first and last thing you hear if you are an album listener. But the thing is, what would you have put instead? This is 10 songs that all kind of have the same overall feel. They're sad, maybe a little bit jaded and angry, but it's not like there's a big finisher on this album.
I would have put Do You Walk, Do You Talk at the end so I could turn it off early.
Alright. Valid. I'll let that go.
Hey, you know what it made me think of?
No.
Can you quack? Can you quack like a duck?
How did it make you...
I don't know, man.
What's that guy's name?
No, it just, Do You Walk, Do You Talk just made me think, can you quack?
Oh.
It didn't actually make me think of Goat and Your Mom, like, jiggling his balls in front of the camera. No, just like, for whatever reason, Do You Walk, Do You Talk just made me think, can you quack?
Can you quack like a duck? Okay, yeah, alright. Okay,
really solving all the world's problems here. You know who else is solving all the world's problems? Pearl Jam, Gigaton.
I can hear you singing in the distance. I can see you when I close my eyes. Once you were somewhere, and now you're everywhere. I'm feeling selfish and I want what's right. Ask for forgiveness, I beg of myself. Feeling angry, knock it off the... Yeah!
You know who's not solving all the world's problems is Pearl Jam.
I don't know, man. He had that video where he wrote, what was it, pro-choice on his arm and stood on a chair.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was on the Pearl Jam MTV. It was on the Pearl Jam MTV Unplugged. He took.
I have never watched.
He took Sharpie and he wrote pro-choice on his arm and stood on a chair.
Didn't he also spell the name of the band Fugazi incorrectly once? On his shoes or on a shirt or something?
Probably. He's changing the world. He fought Ticketmaster. He didn't win, but he still fought them.
Chris.
Yeah.
I don't I'm getting the feeling that your emotions on this album are closer to mine than I expected. Can I sum up this album to you the way I hear it?
Go ahead.
I actually thought of this today as I'm listening to the album again, trying to think of things to really say about it. And this album reminded me, like, I got this mental image of this album were a person, okay? That person would be a first semester philosophy major who is too drunk from a party to remember how to get back to his dorm room. So he's stumbling down the sidewalk and he's asking random people, like, where he's supposed to go. But he can't even get through a single sentence. He can't, like, say, hey, do you know where the dorms are? He just keeps meandering around and asking people gibberish questions before he finally, like, trips on the sidewalk and he lies there crying in the fetal position, just hoping to sober up soon. That's what this album is if it were a person.
So, like me this weekend when I had Four Loko?
Yes, except this album tries really hard to sound important and poetic, like a first semester philosophy student. And I've seen you when you're drunk. You don't try to sound poetic or philosophical.
So you liked it?
What the hell is this album?
Well, this is a Pearl Jam album.
This is going to go back into my category of, it's not so bad it's offensive, but it's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, there were parts of it that I liked, and there were parts of it that I really didn't need in my life.
Okay, so, like, Super Blood Wolf Moon didn't take this album away soon enough, and it's only the second track. I was checked out by Super Blood Wolf Moon the first time I listened to this album.
Okay.
But more importantly, I want to bring up the most important song on this album. Dance of the Clairvoyants.
Yeah.
Which is the one that really makes me think of, like, a first semester philosophy student. Like, this is the same person who probably wrote The Matrix. Like, they took, like, Psychology and Philosophy 101 and thought, like, if you want to go left, you have to go right first. That is this song. Do you remember that time that the Beatles wrote the worst lyric of all time at the beginning of I Am the Walrus? I am he as you are me, and we are all together, right?
Yeah.
Pearl Jam, like, they're trying to take over that title. Well, they didn't do it, but they're trying to with when the past is the present and the future's no more, when every tomorrow is the same as before, the looser things get, the tighter you become. The looser things get, tighter.
No more, when every tomorrow is the same as before. The looser things get, the tighter you become. The looser things get, tighter. Not one man can be greater than the sun.
What? What?
You like it?
No! What the hell is this? How is this the same band that wrote I know someday you'll be a beautiful sun, I know you'll be a star in somebody else's sky? How is this the same band?
Because Eddie Vedder's gone off the deep end since then. He wrote a ukulele album.
Which is, okay, so truth be told, the ukulele album is the only Pearl Jam or Eddie Vedder album I like since, like, 1994. I don't think it's a secret that I am not a Pearl Jam fan.
No.
They have done nothing original after their, like, third album. Or not necessarily even original, just, like, nothing interesting after their, like, third album. And this is no exception, except the fact that this album sounds like they're trying to be U2 for some reason.
The last album was their dad rock album, and they...
But again, nothing new or interesting, like, it's not a compliment.
I mean, I don't think they've ever been super new or interesting. Even when they were doing grunge up against Nirvana, they were like the most accessible of the grunge bands.
They really kind of like they were the most accessible, but like that doesn't mean that's not a bad thing.
No, not
like,
at all.
Okay, so So first off, just because
So what are we defining as new and interesting, then?
This literally does nothing. This
Hell
album
no.
is literally nothing.
But is 10 new and interesting in 1991?
I don't know if it was new and interesting. Well, it absolutely was at least interesting.
Yeah, sure,
That's
yeah.
How
I guess I'm thinking like...
Was it new?
I guess I'm thinking like doing something specifically musically interesting.
Okay, I'm not when I say new, like I'm not expecting someone to learn how to reinvent the wheel. Like no one's gonna create a new sound. Like I'm not expecting that. This isn't the 60s and like there's a bunch of people doing drugs and literally inventing like new guitar effects or whatever. Like that's not what I'm expecting. But like 10 took like almost like an arena rock sound. Like musically they're more comparable to like Bon Jovi than they are to, Nirvana or Soundgarden.
Right.
But they were interesting. Eddie Vedder was interesting. That voice is interesting. Lyrically, they were really bizarre and not something that really existed previously, not on like a mainstream scale. This album is nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna use my nice words for a little while. Okay.
I mean, you're allowed. I think I'm the mean one out of the two. I think.
Well, we have certain coworkers that would argue with that. Former coworkers.
Oh, that's true. I was the nice one.
I think Eddie Vedder's voice sounds great on this.
Oh, you're not wrong.
I think...
Oh, the man's voice has aged fantastically.
I think that he has some stuff, and he has for years now, he has some stuff that's overly poetic, and he sounds like he's writing in his high school journal. But he has some stuff that I think is good on this album.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, not everything is as bad. Dance the Clairvoyants. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the song. Not everything is as bad as that song. That's just like the highlight of what the hell's going on here.
I didn't even hate it. I'm trying to give him credit. I like I kind of like the idea that they're trying to make like this 80s throwback with they're adding synths, which I don't think they've ever done before. They have like an 80s sounding guitar. It's not new and different in the scheme of music. It's new and different for Pearl Jam though, and they're trying to go outside their comfort zone, and I'll give them credit for that. I like that in some of the songs, the guitar has kind of like a garage rock sound on it. But I'm going to say like one of the most interesting songs is the opener. Like that's the one that's going to be on Best of Part 2 probably.
First off, what you're calling like a garage rock sound to the guitar, to me, it's just like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I don't think that's a good thing. Like the guitar tones in this are dry. I don't really know how to describe them. They sound hollow. It's not awful, but I don't think it benefited in any way. You're definitely right. This is, at least as far as I know, I'm not a Pearl Jam expert. This is new territory for them, but literally this just reminds me of, there were 2 U2 albums in a row, and I can't think of what they were, where it was like U2 suddenly didn't really sound like U2, but yet somehow it was just as generic as U2 has ever been, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, this is new for you, and yet somehow this is just as boring as your past 6 albums. And that's literally what this is making me think of. Is it new for Pearl Jam? Yeah, I think so. And yet somehow it sounds so familiar, and it sounds like I've heard this a million times before. Except this time I have to remember that this is Pearl Jam who wrote it. Which... Again, I'm not really a big Pearl Jam fan, but it's very sad to me to realize that a band that released albums as phenomenal as like 10 and Versus also wrote this.
Well, I mean, they're never going to put out another 10 or Versus or Vitology.
That's it. I never remember the name of that third album. Like, I can picture it, I never think of what it's called.
And that's the thing. Like, they I hate to be like the guy that they peaked on their first 3 albums, but they really did, and but they have stuff that I like after that. The greatest hits, Rearview Mirror, like I can listen through that whole thing like 100 times, and like appreciate songs off of like No Code and Yield, but like they aren't albums that I listen through very frequently.
Yeah, you're not digging for anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, but now in all fairness, like the criticizing all aside, I really do like a couple of these songs. So all that aside, like as much as I'm going to make fun of this, I actually am taking away a couple songs off this that I really liked, and I'm curious if you can guess what they are. I want to see if you can figure out for some reason what struck with me.
Super Blood, Wolf Moon, Dance of the Clairvoyants.
Obviously.
I'm gonna say that you probably. I'll guess a couple when you give me a yes or no. I'm gonna say you probably dug the opener.
Did dig the opener.
The opener's pretty
Whoever
good.
said is a pretty cool track. Actually, I was actually pretty excited like listening to this album because I remember listening to one of the singles when it was released and being like, "This is just not good."
That was Dance of the Clairvoyants.
And I put this out, which was Dance of the Clairvoyants, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
So I put this album on, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay. You know what? Never mind. This actually might be really cool." But then Super Blood Wolf Moon came on, and I'm just like, no, don't do this to me. Stuck out.
Was 7 o'clock like the faster one? No, 7 o'clock was not the faster one. I'm trying to remember what one of the speedier songs towards the middle of the album was, and maybe...
So I'm actually gonna tell you that wasn't it.
No? Okay.
Buckle Up.
Motherfucker.
Why?
I literally wrote here, the main song I can do without is the fucking seatbelt song.
Are you serious?
Firstly, do no harm, then put your seatbelt on. Buckle
I love how much we differ sometimes on this crap. No, I literally wrote, "Why is Buckle Up the best song on the album?" Like, I love it. But again, this is to me, this is like where lyrically I think Pearl Jam always shines, is it's not super descriptive. It's kind of telling a story, but it's like almost like it's telling the story from the point of view of a child. Like, there's not a whole lot of detail here. Something's going on, but it's not really blatantly telling you what, and I love this song.
Pearl Jam's making some divisive music over here.
I'm pretty sure they've been doing that for 30 years, just saying. I'm so glad that you all just called it the seatbelt song. It's such a weird, and like, now talking about like things being interesting for the band, this is like such a weird, like, spacey, atmospheric sound.
Yeah.
Like, I did not expect this from Pearl Jam, and this was kind of cool to hear coming from them, actually. This was genuinely unexpected.
Okay. Did you like any other ones, or just the two?
Those are the ones that stood out. I mean, there are some other ones that are honestly totally fine. If I remember correctly, Take the Long Way is fine. It's not offensive. I didn't hate it. I'm probably not going to come back and listen to it at any given point. I already put Buckle Up on a couple different playlists on Spotify.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you walked away with something, even if it wasn't the song I walked away with.
Okay, I had to put it on real quick. Take the Long Way is one of the ones that I really had fun, like, with the riff, but I really hate the sound of the guitar, man. It just sounds like it's coming through an AM radio. Like, It's just awful.
I don't think they needed to end with 3, like, chill/acoustic songs.
No, I mean, again, that's not something I really think too much about, but you're not wrong.
I think that I would have to cut one indiscriminately. Gun to my head, I would say, why do you have a gun to my head? It's just a Pearl Jam album. But maybe Comes and Goes isn't very interesting, and I need to double check the lyrics, maybe, but I do feel like I believe in River Cross, Eddie Vedder starts telling me about Jesus, and I don't need that in my life.
I'll be honest, I actually don't remember which of these 3 is which now that I'm looking at them again.
No, maybe not. I feel like I remember at some point Eddie Vedder drops a few Jesus lines on this album, and I just didn't need that in my life.
I had to go back and listen to it. River Cross is another one that I think is... Like, I'm not going to come back and listen to it all the time, but I think it's interesting. Here's a mix that I know we've actually disagreed before. about, but I love this mix. Eddie Vedder's voice with, like, an organ.
Yeah.
Because there is that version of Better Man that's just Eddie Vedder and the organ, like, not the rest of the band. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, I think that is far superior to the actual, like, original recording.
I don't know that...
I would love a version of River Cross with just the organ and Eddie Vedder's voice.
I don't know that
I don't remember it lyrically, but still.
I don't know that I'm gonna, like, you know, cause an argument over that. I think both versions of Better Man are great. And whichever one you prefer is, like, your deal, man.
It's like your deal, man. Yeah. And I know we've talked about that before. Because I think it wasn't, like, necessarily disappointment. I think it was surprise from you when I said that I preferred the organ-only version.
Yeah, because I like at the end where it, like, kind of kicks into the full band. I think that's a good part of the song. And I don't believe that's in that version, is it?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, that's my only real point of contention on that one, is I like the part where it, like, kicks into the full band and gets a little bit faster.
Which, I mean, yeah, like, that's cool. I think that's a cool part to the song, but I don't think the rest of the song benefited from the band being there.
That's just, like, your opinion, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Speaking of opinions, because we were talking about Eddie Vedder, you know, he's here to change the world.
He's doing it.
Obviously, I know that he's famous or infamous, however you want to look at it, for being very outspoken about some of his beliefs, and I know it's in a lot of his lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of that in this album? Like, did I totally, like, miss some big political statement here? Like, am I really dumb?
Not that I heard.
Or is there not anything in here that, like, really stands out? Like, obviously, if I sat and analyzed the lyrics, like, I'm sure there's things.
Well, like, he's doing seatbelt activism now, so that's good. I can approve of seatbelt activism.
I'm just going to throw this out there. There was a lot more to what that song is about, surely, than put on your seatbelt.
I know.
There is a story being told here, obviously.
I'm aware.
And, like, I mean, there are moments in this album that there's definitely, like, messages being said, but there's nothing that's really, like, up front and center in your face, as in your face as I thought it was going to be.
No.
I thought that was kind of a thing that, like, he's
there was the one. Do you remember? He has a lyric that's very blatantly about Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. There are a couple of those, aren't there?
Oh yeah. No, there is. Oh wow, I didn't even know this one was that blunt. Cross the border to Morocco, Kashmir to Marrakesh, the lengths we had to go then to find a place Trump hasn't fucked up yet.
That's it.
There is one. There's that one. No, there's that one, and then there's another one. But you can talk about that one while I'm trying to remember the other one. That one was in Quick Escape.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't really have much to say. I know there were, like, a couple moments where he's, like, super in your face, but then, like I said, I mean, half this album felt like it was written by somebody who's too drunk to make a full sentence. So, like, aside from a couple, like, oh god, he's literally name dropping moments, it wasn't as, how do I want to say this? I mean, again, I hate to keep comparing them to, like, their earliest albums, but, like, I'm gonna argue what they're known for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There is no Jeremy on here.
No.
Which is a song that has, like, yeah, the song is telling a story, but, like, there is obviously an underlying message in this. I don't know of any underlying messages in this. Either that, or I'm not understanding his lyrics, which is also super possible.
Hey, Jeff, let me give you an underlying message that's not at all in your face. This one's from 7 o'clock. Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, they forged the North and West. Then you got Sitting Bullshit as our sitting president.
There it is.
That was the one I was thinking of.
There it is. I knew there were a couple of just, like, ridiculous things in here, and I couldn't think of what they were. Way to go, Eddie Vedder. We're all very proud of you.
That one I almost like in an it made me laugh way.
I'll be honest, I kind of totally, like, missed that being a thing.
Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, they forged the North and West. Then you got Sitting Bullshit as our sitting president. Or talking to his mirror, what's he say back? A tragedy of Paris who he lost to have a life.
Then you got sitting bullshit as because he does that too.
He does his little yodel thing.
Yeah. If you want to really hear like a political post 90s Pearl Jam, listen to like the one that's just like self-titled and it's just like an avocado on a blue cover.
What?
Do you not know that one?
No.
It's the one with Worldwide Suicide.
Oh, I remember that song.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's actually when I think of them being like in your face with a message. That's kind of the song I think of. I never remember what that song is called. But that's kind of the song that I picture. I don't remember anything about an avocado. What is that, like the album cover?
The album cover is just like it's a blue cover with an avocado on it for no reason.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Weird.
It's fine.
Pardon me while I look at Spotify real quick. I need to see this.
That's my like review of every Pearl Jam album after Vitology. It's fine.
Okay, I'm looking at this going, oh yeah, I recognize this. I just never stopped to think about the fact that, yeah, that's just an avocado, isn't it?
Yep.
But yeah, that's what that is.
I'm going to give this album a fine out of 10.
A fine out of 10. Yeah, that's
fine.
Know what? That's totally... I'm going to give it a meh out of 10, not a fine out of 10, but yeah. Again, it's not so bad it's offensive. I'm gonna rip on it.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's not so bad that there aren't songs in it that I won't come back to if you can parse through all of those double negatives.
Well said. I could not, so it's fine. This is, oh my gosh, I feel like this is the third or fourth time that I've said this about an album we reviewed, where I just kind of just like, it's doing nothing for me. Like, it's an album, it exists, it was oral space in my life. Whatever, it's very easily ignorable.
All right, are you ready to go on to Tower of Power?
I would love to ride the Tower of Power.
Tower of Power, step up.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Tower of Power, Step Up, known for that famous song, If You Want to Step Up, Step Up.
That's not accurate.
That was a song, right?
This is inaccurate.
But that was a song, right? Isn't that like a nu metal song?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hold on.
Like, it totally sounds like it probably is, but God knows I have no clue what you're talking about.
I have to derail this conversation 30 seconds in. Oh, it was Drowning Pool.
I literally know one song by them, so that's there's no way. But it's okay, I gotcha.
It's on the Punisher soundtrack. That sounds like something Tower of Power would be on, right?
Yeah, same
Punisher
thing. Drowning Pool, Tower of Power, totally the same.
Okay, so I want you to start me off. Tower of Power is a new band, right?
Yeah, Tower of Power formed in Tower of Power has been around for 50 years. In fact, this is the other band that I believe this is their 21st studio album. Yeah, no, they've been around for a long time. This is basically another group that's a bunch of old guys. Although, in all fairness, there's, aside from a few members of the band who have been, like, consistent, a lot of the band, because Tower Power is primarily like a brass horn section.
I was going to say, they're a rotating door band.
Yeah, a lot of the members are rotating door. Like, I did look up the members, and a lot of the current members joined in, like, 2010, 2014.
Yeah.
There are a handful who have been around from the beginning.
I was going to say, these singers didn't sound like they'd seen World War II.
No. Well, that being said, the one guy, Emilio Castillo, or Castillo, I don't know how he says his name. He goes by Mimi. He is one of the founders. He's also the only member with a Wikipedia page, apparently, which I thought was very strange. He's up there in age. He's been around for a while. Again, he's one of the original members. He's been part of this group for 50 years.
What does he do?
He's actually one of the writers, but he also he sings some songs. He has like a really kind of rough, gravelly voice.
Has he taken the John Oliver approach?
I don't know what you mean by that.
John Oliver with Savatage after a while. He was just kind of like a writer.
I think you said John Oliver, and I'm just like, I don't know who that is. No, he's like part of the touring band still.
John Oliver, I think, is that British talk show host, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. That's why I was thinking, like, either you're referring to him or you're referring to, like, somebody who I'm just not familiar with.
No, just how, like, John Oliver was kind of became, like, a behind-the-scenes guy. But I guess...
mean, Brian Wilson did the same thing, where he was still writing music, but not performing it, or, like, not touring with it. He was just, like, in the studio. No, Emilio, or Mimi, as they call him, he's still, like, an active performing member of the band as well.
Okay. Well, okay, that's fair.
Obviously, so again, like, I asked this a lot of you. Did you have any prior experience to Tower of Power?
Tower of Power is, like, a band that I am familiar enough just from, like, I've looked them up from hearing that other people were going or interested in going to see Tower of Power. And I was like,
okay, like you were just aware they exist.
Yeah, I'm aware they exist. I think you, like, marked yourself as going, and a few other friends marked themselves as interested to a Tower
I've seen
of
them
Power
a couple
show.
times now, yeah.
Tower of Power show, and I was like, all right, what's this? And it's sex funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so I want to say this album reminded me of something ridiculous. And,
okay.
And rather than you just, like, do that thing where you take my word for it, or, like, I you know, say, hey, look this up, I sent you an audio clip.
You did. I'm looking at it, and okay.
And
is this now the time to listen to this?
Hold on. I'm gonna set it up. You're gonna hear 4 short clips, 30 seconds each, and you're gonna hear them all twice. And when they're done, you're going to guess which 2 of these clips are Tower of Power songs, and one you're gonna get because it's from this album. There's a giveaway. And then you're gonna guess which 2 are from the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack on Dreamcast.
Oh man!
So play that clip now.
Hold on, a little backstory to this. Again, we do not really discuss the albums. We won't make comments to each other like on Facebook Messenger. You did ask me one day, how well do I know their entire discography? And the answer is, like, no, I don't know all of it. Like, I know, again, as a live album fan, I know their live albums really well, and I know a handful of studio albums, but 21 studio albums, no, I don't know all of it. So I'm assuming you probably picked songs I don't actually know, and now I'm worried, and I love this. All right, hitting play now.
Clip A. Clip B. Clip C. Clip D.
Okay, so how do you want me to do this? I just listened to, like, I hear your voice saying clip A, clip B. I listened to A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, clip A, Sonic Adventure 2 or Tower of Power?
Okay, so as I listen to these again, like, I'm gonna hear you say clip A again. I'm just gonna, like, let it play and I'll tell you. Okay.
Yeah.
So clip A again.
Clip A.
So clip A is Sonic Adventure.
You're correct.
Sonic Adventure, right?
Sonic Adventure 2, yes. Correct.
Sonic Adventure 2, okay.
That's Lovely Gate 3 from Sonic Adventure 2. Clip B.
Clip B is Tower of Power.
Yes. Clip C.
Clip C, I am also thinking is Sonic Adventure? Or am I wrong?
That's Tower of Power.
Is it? Hold on.
That's Spankadang.
Oh, son of a bitch.
You have not won Sonic Adventure 2 or Tower of Power.
In clip. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Okay. There are very few video game soundtracks I know well enough to have ever, like, thought of doing this. This is brilliant. Oh my god. I mean, obviously I got one wrong. Like, you're so not wrong. Oh, that's ridiculously stupid. So So what you're saying is, Step Up by Tower of Power made you want to play Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, kinda. Well, not really, because I never really want to play Sonic Adventure 2. I like the idea of playing a Sonic or Shadow level in Sonic Adventure 2, and then like never playing a Knuckles level.
Oh, see, I like the idea of playing the Knuckles levels multiplayer with my brother, but then once we start doing it, we both go, this game is awful. Like, how did we forget this?
Yeah.
But I like the idea of those levels a lot, and I have fond memories of being, like 12 years old or 11 years old or whatever, and playing those games.
If you are young enough to have fond memories of Sonic Adventure in 10 years, you should play it now. Because you're not going to like it once you hit 16.
It's not good. I don't remember what YouTuber did a review of that game one time, like within the past couple years, that was something like an honest review without nostalgia, and it basically was just like, no, guys, like, we all need to stop pretending this game. Anyway, Tower of Power. Other than reminding you of Sonic Adventure 2, I'm curious as to what your thoughts were. Like, because I don't really take you as, like, a big fan of, like, funk and soul music, but at the same time, I don't know anyone who can actively hate funk and soul music.
No, it's fine. It's fun. I like that type of music. It's not something that I seek out too often, but I mean, I have no problem listening to this. Aside from some things that we'll get into in a little bit, that isn't even really a problem, but more like me bitching.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
But yeah, funk and soul, I think that's like a really cool type of music. I think there's a lot of talented people in this band. There's things from this genre that are incorporated in music that I do listen to a lot more of.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, I could just as easily draw parallels to Steve Vai as Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it doesn't.
But that's not as funny.
The horn section is also like what really kills it for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I grew up with my mom listening to Motown and Marvin Gaye and the Temptations, so like none of that's weird to me either.
Yeah, that's kind of why I figured like this isn't gonna be offensive to you by any. This is
So,
similar enough to things you grew up with.
Yeah, and I love a good slap bass. You give me a slap bass, I'm fucking.
Oh yeah,
I'm hard all day.
There's some great bass lines in this, and then I always forget how good they've had a handful of guitar players. I always forget how good their guitar players are too. I love like funk guitar rhythm playing, whether it's like when
really they do that kind of like
the really bright, like it's almost like if you added a wah pedal, it's like the cliche 70s porn music, but like get rid of the wah.
Yeah,
that
or like it's almost ska.
Yeah, like I love that style of rhythm playing, or I also love, like the sometimes really syncopated, or even just like kind of the cool like riffy stuff. Like the song "Step Up" has like some great guitar riffs, literally.
Yeah, and those boys can wheedle.
Yeah, they can. Well, actually, it's Jerry Cortez is their current guitar player, and yeah, he can wheedle when he wants to. He's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I do like that funk, they tend to just sort of like ride the beat for a little while, and then like someone will get an improv section, and then they just kind of ride the beat some more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. In fact, if you've never seen Bootsy Collins from Parliament Funkadelic, if you've never seen his video on Introduction to Funk Bass, I'm going to have to send it to you.
Okay. I feel like you've shown it to me, but it's been a while.
I am positive I have,
Okay.
You know? You'll recognize it once you see it. It's one of the greatest things ever.
Does he say after everything?
He says it many times.
Okay. That's fine, Yeah, again, this is another one of those things where this is music that it's about what they're playing more than what they're saying, which is good because I would call these lyrics not great for the most part.
Most of them are not great, and there are a couple lyrics that really stood out to me, not necessarily in a good way.
Oh, good. I hope it's about the line that I wrote here that says, I could do without these weird political messages.
Yeah. Yes.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
We are doing other albums today with political messages. And I don't want to be biased towards Tower of Power. But the issue I have is, why are there political messages in my fuck music at all? There is no bigger turnoff. There is no bigger turnoff than when the musician who is playing you through your sexual experience goes, "I might go GOP."
So I actually wrote down that whole line, or one of the whole lines. He says "might go GOP" a couple times, but the line is, "Might believe that social justice is the way it's meant to be. Still, I'm hoping to get rich, so I might go GOP." The song is "If It's Tea, Give Me Coffee," which I actually love the song overall.
I love the music.
If it's tea, give me coffee. If it's coffee, give me tea. Might believe that social justice is the way it's meant to be. Still, I'm hoping to get rich, so I might go GOP. But if it's tea, give me coffee. If it's coffee, give me tea. Yeah, that's right. All right, y'all. Oh, even if it's not a party. Hey, and even if it's just...
The whole song is, like, lyrically is just, if you have A, then I want B.
Yeah.
But if you have B, I want A.
Yeah.
It's just contradictory lines, but they made a handful of political statements, and it's super strange to me.
Well, there's
I don't know why.
the other one, like, they make a few, and it's not as overt, but they make a few things that sound like boomer comments during Any Excuse Will Do.
Well, so okay, so I'm glad we picked up the same two songs, because they are the two songs that have weird political lines. Any Excuse Will Do is definitely, like, it's so obviously written by somebody who is probably twice our age. And the song, as a general rule, is just blame it on the blank. And it's like fill in the blank constantly. Blame it on the white man. Blame it on the Jews. Blame it on whatever. Like, they literally say all of it. Like, every line in itself sounds like it's kind of offensive, but, like, that's obviously not the point. The point is they're kind of mocking people who blame anything individually.
Yeah,
like, that's not
Any Excuse Will Do.
Yeah, the song is acknowledging, like, you can't blame any specific thing.
Blame it on the white man. Blame it on the booze. Blame it on the Arabs, or you can blame it on the Jews. Blame it on the Chinese, because they grown by leaps and bounds.
There's more than enough and plenty. Blame it go around.
Blame it on religion. You can blame it on the press. Blame it on the bureaucrats, or chalk it up to stress.
My problem with that song, and this is not their fault, because for the record, this album was actually written a few years ago.
Right.
It was just recorded and released now. But it has the line, blame it on the Chinese, because they grow in by leaps and bounds. Which, if this were any other time, I would just take that line like the rest of the song. I mean, come on, they say blame it on the white man, blame it on the Jews.
Blame it on the Arabs.
Yeah, like, I get it. But that line, considering the world right now, sounds a little too much like some people that I actually know who would say that seriously, and I'm just like, oh, this kind of hurts. So this is a song that I think I'm actually going to be able to enjoy a little more later.
This is one of those songs that the political message wasn't meant to be literal, but we're in a time when it's hitting a little too close to true.
It's inconveniently timed.
Yeah.
Because, even with both of these songs, the political message is no single person is right in both of these songs.
Uh-huh.
The political message is, this isn't black and white. This isn't as easy as yes or no.
Which is true if we were in a time where, like, both sides are so fucking extreme, I want to hit everyone.
Yeah.
Like people are actually thinking this way.
Yes, and it's so awkwardly timed, the fact that this album, and these songs came out now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these are songs that, in the context of a Tower Power live show, whenever I inevitably go see them again, because I'm sure I will, it's going to be like, hopefully the world climate will not be what it is currently, and I will be able to enjoy these songs for what they are, which is, yes, there's a message here. The message is much more lighthearted than it sounds at first.
Yeah. And again, it's just one of those things where this is a genre of music where I'm not necessarily looking for a political message. It feels like I want to forget about this kind of shit music.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, the political messages here aren't... This isn't Eddie Vedder calling out Trump. The political messages are, like, along the lines of, like, there's more important things to worry about.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is actually, if you ask me, as far as funk goes, this is a lighthearted genre.
Uh-huh.
If you're going to have a political message, I think this is the way to do it. It's just very awkward timing for specifically some of these lines.
Yeah, and the majority of the album is wonderful music about one-night stands, which is what I want from funk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. Sleeping with You, Baby is literally the name of the song. Look in My Eyes, You to One, Addicted to You, Story of You and I.
I was offended that some of them sounded like they were about long-term relationships, okay?
Well, okay, in all fairness, I mean, they're not all one-night stand songs.
That was a jest.
I know. Because, like, Let's Celebrate Our Love, I'm assuming is not a one-night song. However, Sleeping With You, Baby might be.
Is probably, yeah.
I just love sleeping with you, baby. Holding you all night. Sleeping with you, baby. Ooh, hugging you real tight. I just love sleeping with you, baby.
Or You the One. I also love the fact that it's spelled like D-A. Like, it's not You're the One, it's You the One.
You the One.
But, I mean, okay, so, I mean, overall, again, this is not my first Tower of Power album by any stretch, but I obviously am certainly not a huge expert of them. I have seen them live before. They are just a phenomenally tight group. It is mostly horn players. It's primarily like a rhythm section. I mean, they're just a phenomenal band. And they've gone through a handful of singers, a handful of frontmen. This current guy's name is Marcus Scott. He's been with the band for a few albums now, I think. He's been with them for a little while. I'm imagining you probably are not familiar with their previous vocalists. Let me just say that Marcus Scott probably is my favorite vocalist they've ever had.
Well, I did do a little bit of peeping through their discography for the Tower of Power versus Sonic 2 game.
Oh, I guess that's true.
So I had to look a little bit there, and like I said, when people have said that they're going to go see him, I have looked up stuff, from the past. I haven't gone all the way back to, like, their stuff from, like, the 70s. But, like, I'm sure I should. I'm sure that there's a lot of phenomenal stuff in there. It's just, time constraints and doing other things and stuff like that. I haven't gotten around to it. But, like, I'm sure at some point in my leisure time, I will probably go back and check out some of their older stuff, because I did enjoy this. I just had a couple complaints that some of the lyrics were ill-timed.
Yes, but again, I mean, so, like, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I actually mentioned that. This album is technically part 2 of a double album. The previous one was released 2 years ago.
Oh, that would make sense as to why, like, they both have the same, like, intro.
Yes, this literally was written 2 years ago, and it's kind of like the second half to what could have been a double album. So the last album was called Soul Side of Town. This album is, like, subtitled Soul Side of Town Volume 2.
Okay. Would you please recite for the class the intro and outro tracks to both albums?
So on Soul Side of Town, the album from 2018, it begins with a track called East Bay All Day, and then ends with a track called East Bay Oakland Style. And then, I hope you're ready for this, Step Up, the newest album that we listened to, opens with East Bay All the Way, and ends with East Bay Oaktown All the Way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, there's a running theme here. If you did enjoy this album overall, you would definitely like the previous album, Soul Side of Town.
I get the feeling
Tower of Power.
I get the feeling that if I liked this album, I could generally go to any album that they have and have a good time.
You're gonna have a good time, but like obviously they have been around for 5 decades.
Yeah,
their style has changed some. They definitely fit more into like the soul side these days. If you were to go back to like what is hip, it like straight up funk.
Okay.
Which it's super fun. It's ridiculous. It's actually much more lighthearted. They've actually gotten a little, dare I say, more serious. Again, not that anything on here is crazy serious. This is not Pearl Jam. But they have gotten a little more serious more recently. But stylistically, Soul Side of Town and Step Up are very, very, very similar.
Okay.
Although, quite frankly, again, if you do ever want to dig into Tower of Power, I recommend 40th Anniversary, which is a live album, or, God forbid, I'm going to recommend another live album. It's called Soul Vaccination. It's from 1999. It was actually my first Tower of Power album. I forget the singer's name on this album. He has a very different voice, but it was my introduction. It's a great mixture of like their hits from the previous decades, and it's definitely much more funky.
I have no idea how I saw it coming, but somehow I just knew you were going to recommend 2 live albums.
Yeah, there's a shock, right?
I don't...
Well, okay. So, I'm sure they have compilations, but I've never actually looked at their compilations. But these are good mixtures of songs.
Right.
I mean, because one of them is, the compilation's 20 years old, so it's a compilation of their 30 previous years.
Yeah.
And then one is 40th Anniversary. It's literally like they're trying to pick up different songs. Like, it's... If they had a greatest hits album that I know was a good mixture, I'd be like, oh no, you have to listen to this.
It was just funny because I'm so used to you going for the live albums.
I think it's a great way to learn about a band.
It is. It's you get a good side because it's unless they're playing like a full album live, you get a good mix of like their whole discography and a good feel for what's popular too.
Now there are exactly, because you also sometimes get the fan favorites that like, oh, this was never a single, but people really latched onto this because this is a good song.
Yeah.
The only exception to that is when I know of a good greatest hits, because like let's face it, some greatest hits, I don't know who selects these songs, but they are wrong.
Yeah.
So actually, I did happen to look, though. There is actually a album called The East Bay Archive Volume 1, and I'm looking at this track list going, you know what? This is a solid track list.
Okay.
If you want to start here with us with what I'm assuming are studio tracks, this is a good mix.
Jeff, I'm reading the subtitle. Boston, Massachusetts, 73. It looks like this is a live album.
Is it? Oh, see, I don't see a subtitle listed here.
It's not listed. Are you on Spotify?
Yeah.
Look below the East Bay Archive Volume 1 where it says Boston, Massachusetts, and then there's a day that's kind of obscured just by the bridge.
I can't even, read that. Oh my god, hold on, let me turn on the track real quick. It's live!
No, if you scroll down, there are 3 compilations under the compilation section.
Oh, okay. That's so funny.
You're the fucking
best.
You're the best. You're the best. I love you.
I picked a live album, not even realizing it was a live album. Again, I'm just looking at the track listing on it. I'm just like, this is a good mixture
of songs.
I know.
You're my favorite.
I do what I can. That's why I'm here.
You know who else is my favorite?
Even when I'm not even trying to, I pick live albums. Who else is your favorite?
I was going to say Body Count, but I don't know if we're done talking about this.
Oh, I was actually going to say Poppy. Can we talk about Poppy instead?
Oh, dude.
Welcome back to Poppy Cast. We're going to review... Never mind, I'm not doing this again.
Have you listened to more Poppy?
I absolutely have.
What's your favorite album? Is it I Disagree?
I mean, album to listen to, yeah. I Disagree is going to be, the album I actually listen to. But I think it's just the best songs. Yeah. The rest are important in the grand scheme of the greatness that is Poppy.
Yeah.
But as far as, musicality goes, I Disagree is so cool.
But you've listened to Am I a Girl?
Yeah.
When you listen to Girls in Bikinis, did you also think this sounds like a track that like she found in Ninja Sex Party's trash can?
You know, I didn't think that, but I can't say I fully disagree. Actually, real quick, can we talk about Ninja Sex Party for a second? Have you listened to their newest single? I don't know what we're talking about.
Actually, I love that song, but I was going to ask you, did you hear what Danny recorded with Super Guitar Brothers?
The album with Super... I have not listened to it, actually.
Is it
even out? Is that a
it's
thing?
not out, but the first single's out. Do you know what it is?
No.
It's Scarborough Fair.
Okay. Now, okay, hold on. I know that I went on a huge rant about the fact that I am sick and tired of people covering that song. Here is my defense right now, though. Ninja Sex Party, or Danny in general, they are very blunt about the fact that they are doing songs that are popular because they're not trying to be unique. They're not trying to be new and refreshing. They want to party and have fun. They want to do songs that everyone in an audience can sing along with. I get why that's a song they would do, because everybody knows it. I'm still not sure I'm going to care. I haven't listened to the recording of it. I don't care how much I think the Super Guitar Bros are actually really cool. I don't care how much I like Danny's voice. I'm sick of that song. But I can at least, like, respect why they would have picked that song, as opposed to, oh, we're going to be cool and we're going to do a heavy metal version of Scarborough Fair. Because that needs to stop.
You know what I didn't divulge a couple weeks ago?
What?
My Dying Bride has a cover of Scarborough Fair.
Fuck them.
Does it help that he wrote original lyrics for it? He wrote like a new opening verse.
Maybe. I don't know if that helps or not.
To be fair, it's like...
I might have to do
it. You don't really have to. It's a B-side.
I mean,
they at least released it as a B-side and like with some new stuff. But I do think that aside from that album, which I admit wasn't very good, you should listen to some other My Dying Bride.
I mean, genuinely, I really should. I actually even meant to get back to you on that last time and say like, hey, I need to listen to them more, but I didn't.
Okay,
you know what fine. I did listen to, Chris?
Oh, are we done with Tower of Power? Are we moving on?
Yeah, because also, I mean, mind you, I've been listening to that album, the Tower of Power album, a lot. But what else I listened to is Carnivore by Body Count.
Yeah!
Chris, explain to everybody what Body Count is.
Body Count is Ice-T's heavy metal band that he started, as he said on a previous album, opening the Raining Blood track, because his buddy Ernie wanted to play guitar. And he saw the kids in Europe used to mosh to hip-hop, so he wanted to play some heavy metal with his buddies. And so Body Count started as Ice-T's hip-hop metal crossover side project. You can hear that he takes a lot of influence from like Suicidal Tendencies and Slayer. And their big hit, which was cut off the album and you can no longer hear it on Spotify, was Cop Killer.
Tonight we get even.
And it has been perfect album after perfect album since. How's that?
Are those really the words you want to use?
I understand that Body Count's a little bit campy, but I fucking love them.
Can I actually tell you my biggest complaint about Carnivore right off the bat?
Go ahead.
Wasn't campy enough.
That is fair, because this is their most serious album.
there was not a single song on here that made me laugh out loud. Like some of the other previous songs have absolutely made me like laugh to the point of tears. So Body Count isn't trying necessarily to be funny, but there are some songs
I think
that aren't necessarily trying to be serious.
I think they're goofy. I think like stuff like Voodoo or their take on Institutionalized, you're obviously laughing with Ice-T.
They're just being ridiculous.
Yeah. This one is heavier. It's a little more serious. I think he's trying to read the times and make a statement, which I'm fine with. I liked it.
No, I actually really enjoyed this.
Okay, good.
Is there anywhere in particular you want to start?
Just, let's just start right at the beginning. Do you have any thoughts on like the opening track or anything? Because I think the opening track was very cool. I like that they're kind of like incorporating some like more of like the metal screams and stuff.
Yes.
One of the things I want to say one of the lines one of my favorite lines is in the opening song, which is "Ever since the birth of man, humans die by human hands."
Yeah, there are some surprisingly cool lyrics in here, but overall, I actually have to give them credit. So, Ice-T's, let's call it his heavy metal vocal style. Let's just call it that, 'cause I don't know what else to call it. Really, just kind of it consists of him shouting into a microphone.
Oh, he's just rapping. He's just rapping to metal.
But he's not even rapping. He's shouting the words. Like, it almost sounds like he is actively trying to compete with the guitars.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine, but I actually like the fact that there is a little more variety in this album in his voice. It's actually kind of, like, there's, like, some sense of dynamics sometimes. It's really impressive coming from him, actually.
I've never been one to know Ice-T for his incredible flow. So this is him rapping, I believe. But I think it works very well with the confrontational feel of Body Count.
Yes.
He sounds like he wants to kick your ass, which is how it should sound.
Yes. It is very in your face.
And man, when that fucking Ace of Spade cover hits, I fucking love it.
You want to know what I hate about that cover, though?
Huh.
The, 8 seconds of spoken intro.
It's fine.
God, it's so annoying. I hate
fine.
it so much.
You're gonna be
No,
okay.
It's not. I want to click play and hear dun 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 dun. Like, I don't want to hear you talking. Just play the song. Just play the song, man.
The two tracks that I think kind of stuck out a little bit were Colors and 6 in the Morning, which are actually reworks of Ice-T's solo stuff. I think the one that is actually in the middle of the album, Colors, fits better. But 9 in the Morning or 6 in the Morning as a bonus track is kind of in stark contrast to the rest of the album.
Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least $1,000. Gold on my neck, my pistol's close at hand. I'm a self-made monster of the city streets, remotely controlled by hard hip-hop beats. But just living in the city is a serious task. Didn't know what the pigs wanted, didn't have time to ask.
Yeah, thank you for actually clarifying what that was, because I see it's marked as unreleased demo, and I wasn't sure what that meant.
Yeah, both 6 in the Morning and Colors, the reason they say 2020 after them is because they're re-recordings of songs he wrote as a rapper, and I think it's unreleased demo because it's a Spotify bonus track or something.
Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least $1,000. Gold on my neck, my pistol's close at hand. I'm a self-made monster of the city streets, remotely controlled by hard hip-hop beats. But just living in the city is a serious task. Didn't know what the cops wanted, didn't have time to ask.
Okay, that makes sense. Can I just say that Colors is a much better song than the song about colors that you learned when you were a little kid, that you always sing?
Yeah, that's fucking clear. No one wanted to listen to Hap Palmer.
Let's sing a song about colors. No, okay. So honestly, Colors and 6 in the Morning are 2 songs I really didn't. They don't really do much for me. I actually have a question. I totally meant to look up a couple things here, and I even have notes written down. It literally just says in asterisks, look this up, and I totally forgot to. So the song Point the Finger features Riley Gale. Who is that?
That's a great fucking question.
Do you have any idea? Okay, so that doesn't mean... Okay, that's fine.
No. He has a bunch of songs that are with... He's
with
more...
Features.
With features, but they're with, like, more modern metal, like, hardcore bands that I'm not super familiar with. I'm looking it up, and okay. He is from... he's from Power Trip, which is a band that I know the name of, but I don't know much of their material.
Okay, I know nothing about them. So the other one I wanted to look up is, who's Jamie Josta? I know this name.
Jamie Josta. I'm trying to remember what band he's in. Give me 1 second.
I mean, I could have Googled it. I literally have it written down that I was supposed to, and I totally forgot to.
No, because I've seen Jamie Josta, and I'm trying to remember what he's in.
This is a name that I feel like was really important to me in like 2006.
Hatebreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jamie Josta is from Hatebreed. And I'm sorry about that. I apologize for Hatebreed existing.
You know what? It's totally
But you know what? Okay, so Ice-T does this thing where he features guests that I'm not huge on. Like on the previous album, well, I do like Dave Mustaine, and he was on that, and Randy Blythe is fine, but he also had Max Cavalera, which we might get into talking about him in the future sometime.
Okay.
But Max Cavalera, he started Sepultura, and that was fine, and then he made Sepultura kind of go nu metal, and that was a thing, and then he left and started Soulfly, and that really sucked.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking we were potentially going to talk about the New Testament, not the Bible, but the New Testament album.
The New Testament. I mean, you know that I would be down for talking about the New Testament.
This is a Bible podcast now.
Welcome back to Biblecast with Chris and Jeff.
But we were gonna potentially talk about the New Testament album next time, and maybe I think we might move it to like a wrap up, because not to spoil it for you, but it's a Testament album. And I love me some Testament, but they are very consistent with putting out decent albums, but they very rarely leave me with anything specifically to criticize. If you've heard a Testament album and you enjoyed it, you'll enjoy a Testament album.
It's gonna be Testament.
Unless it's like one of the groove metal albums from like the mid '90s. I think they put out a couple of those, but like early Testament and recent Testament is fairly consistent.
They aren't as let's say consistent as AC/DC. Like they write more than 3 songs. But yeah, I can imagine that they're not breaking new ground.
So I was thinking about maybe having you listen to the new Sepultura, and maybe in contrast to times when I say don't listen to any of the back catalog, I might say listen to some of the back catalog, because there's a history with this album. So, and I think that might just provide us with a more interesting conversation than Testament.
That'll be an adventure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so anyways, we're gonna come back to Carnivore now.
Okay, back to Carnivore. Can I actually just say, so you're apologizing for Hatebreed, but the song "Another Level" with Jamie Josta is the best song on this album.
Yes. I was all
on board with this song.
Where I was going is that he has featured guests on these albums that I don't like, but he doesn't let anyone get in the way of it being a body count song. There's no featured. There's not really like, oh, this featured guest is doing the entire chorus or something. Amy Lee does that, I think, but it is definitely like it's body count, and Jamie Josta's on the track.
All you non-believers, I chose to bleed together.
it's Body Count and Amy Lee's on the track.
Yeah. It's like, so I think I've even complained about this before. I always have this issue when a song features someone else that they come on and do the most, like, cliche imitation of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, if you feature Carlos Santana on an album or on a song, he's going to play the most Carlos Santana sounding guitar solo you've ever heard. Like, it's going to sound like somebody making up something trying to sound like Carlos Santana.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with everybody. Anytime you feature a singer, a guitar player, whatever, it's going to be so cliche them. In this, I don't think is the case. Again, I don't know who Riley Gale is. But Jamie Josta, I knew the name. I didn't recognize him. This did not sound like Hatebreed.
No.
This sounds like Body Count.
Yeah.
This song is so wicked. This is such like a I am pumped up and I want to kick your ass song.
That's like, I think the whole album is just really a really good attitude for that.
I think it just peaked there.
Yeah, and it has it really fits the typical Body Count topics of gun violence and police corruption and inequality and homeless Geddy Lee.
I'm sorry, what?
Bump Rush.
I was like, what are you talking about? I hate the fact that you said that. I hate the fact that it took me a second to realize what you meant. I hate everything about what just happened right now.
So is this your favorite episode so far?
No. I hate everything. No, I don't. I will admit, I will say I am much less bitter feeling now than I was when we first started recording, so I'll take it.
Good. So how did you feel about your girl and When I'm Gone?
I love her.
I know you do.
Amy Lee is on the one song When I'm Gone. And now, in all fairness, I will say I think this was a great example of, like, it's the most cliche sounding Amy Lee. But at the same time, I don't actually know if she's capable of not sounding like a cliche of herself. That's kind of her thing, is she sounds like herself.
Don't wait, tomorrow might be too fucking late. Don't wait to tell me that you miss me.
Everything about the way she sings, even the melody, the way, like, just everything about this is like, that could have just been sucked out of an Evanescence song. But it was great. It was a nice change of pace in this album for, you know, the part of a song.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a perfect example of, like, yeah, that's certainly an Amy Lee moment there. Unlike Jamie Josta, who I didn't even recognize, and I, for better or worse, know Hatebreed fairly well, who I did not even recognize listening to him on another level.
Yeah, and the musicianship on this album is just...
I was gonna say...
It's just far beyond what anyone gives them credit for.
We need to talk about Ernie C. for just a second here, because I know we've actually talked about this before, when you made me listen to... Was it their Rain and Blood cover, maybe?
Yeah.
That I think I finally really caught on, like, this guy's good.
He's incredible.
Like, he's not like, you know, I'm not going to compare him to, like, some of the greatest of all time, but, like, he is a name that I think people need to talk about more. He is such just a solid, like, heavy metal and thrash guitar player.
Uh-huh.
And yet, he is not a name. I don't think I've ever seen his name said on, like, the Ultimate Guitar forums. And he absolutely should be.
It's a real shame. He is very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole album is, I mean, not like groove metal groovy, but this whole album grooves.
It has a real groove to it, like, so that Ice-T can lay down the sort of yell raps.
Yes. Like, he does a great job writing these heavy metal riffs that are effectively beats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very underrated. Like I said, I really think we should, like, his name should be said much more often in the guitar world, and it's a huge shame that it's not.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed Body Count. That's fun for me. That's up there with Poppy.
I did enjoy Body Count. I sometimes forget that I really should listen to them more. I mean, my biggest complaint about the album is the spoken intro to When I'm Gone and Ace of Spades.
I think that you can get past those.
I hate it. I can't.
I think you can get past those.
I'm going to buy this album, rip it onto my computer, and edit out the spoken intros, and then run a new copy of the CD. I'm not really going to. But I am going to be mildly annoyed every time I put those songs on.
Yeah, that 5 seconds really going to fuck up your day.
It's... You know what? You know what's gonna fuck up your day? Listening to this album is gonna fuck up your day.
Ice-T is gonna fuck up your day.
Yeah, he probably will.
Actually, like, what's gonna fuck up my day is like this is like a great work album for me. Like, I can like put this on and just like rage at how much I hate my boss, and then I come home and fucking Ice-T's on Ghost Hunters.
Yeah,
and exactly. I'm just like, but you're supposed to be out there busting caps and asses.
Yeah, I mean, wait, what's the show that he's actually been on, like, for forever? He's on one of those, like, crime shows.
Oh, yeah, he plays a cop. Like, that's one of the jokes is that he plays a cop on...
Yeah, in what show?
On, Law and Order. Law and Order. It's Law and Order.
Is that it?
Yeah, at Law and Order SVU, he's played a cop for a while. And, like, I like the fact that there is a live version of Cop Killer where he's like, it's okay, you can sing it, I play one on TV.
That's right. Oh, that's so funny.
I love Ice-T just yelling at people on Twitter.
He definitely is one of those people who I'm just like, you know what? You're fun. I'm glad you exist in this world, man.
And what's cool is, like, okay, I know that you complain about the spoken word intros to songs, but, like, in my opinion, Ice-T seems to have more respect for, like, metal than most metal bands now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in all fairness, as much as I hate, like, random spoken bits in songs, because it's like, that could have been a separate, like, 3-second track. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Graves did it right on that one acoustic album, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I think he's very sincere in the opening of Ace of Spades, where he says, you know, we're paying tribute to our biggest influences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, he says that, and I'm just like, I believe you.
Yeah. I mean, and Ice-T just, like, he just seems to be very, very legitimate in that sense. He definitely seems to have, again, more respect towards metal than some metal bands that exist now.
I mean, probably. Very probably.
I mean, how much fucking trashing each other is there in, like, fucking metal anymore? Even, like, among the legends.
Oh, yeah. Fucking... It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of... Yeah. It's really... When you could be compared to the brothers from Oasis, like, you know you should stop. And I remember seeing, again, I'm going to reference Ultimate Guitar a lot, but that's sort of, like, one of my daily go-to websites. I forget who there was an interview with recently, and everybody said something like, these two are bickering like Liam and Noel are. And I'm just like, yeah, it's not a good thing. Like, these guys, these, like, heavy metal legends need to stop. Quit being children. You're 75 years old.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway. I'm going to give Body Count 8 Jamie Jostas out of 10.
8 Jamie Jostas out of 10. You know what? I'm just gonna give it a solid yeah.
Anyways, I'm really glad that we were able to handle these albums from least intense to most intense. I'm sorry that you're less intense than Tower of Power Eddie Vedder.
I mean, the problem is you are absolutely not wrong. And I don't think anything gets more tame than 81-year-old Gordon Lightfoot.
I mean, if Eddie Vedder's is less intense than 81-year-old Golden Lightfoot. You know what? At least he's still got that growl. You might not.
This is true.
You might not have liked Dance of the Clairvoyants, but at least he did that in it.
I think I did say I do still really enjoy his voice. That hasn't changed. But yeah, no, there's definitely a lack of intensity these days.
All right, podcast is over.
Good.